Right, out and about again, and I've actually just found a nice little crop of this rather prehistoric looking plant. In fact, it is prehistoric. It's millions of years old. It's horsetail. Several different species grow in Britain, many species around the world, and this plant, the group of plants, predates the dinosaurs by about at least 100 million years. This is a throwback to the days of giant forests of ferns and fungi 6 feet across and all that sort of thing. Long before there was any great creatures walking the land. I say this is horsetail. It's primitive, but it's edible. It's also got quite a lot of healing properties, allegedly. And you can make a nice tea out of it. You can also make soup and add it as a garnish. I'm going to collect some of this and just for the tea. This one is one that typically grows in wet areas. There's a stream behind this bush here. The roots like to grow in wet ground. It actually cultivates very easily as well. If you break these stems off, cut them into these sections, and drop them in water, they'll root in a few days. As I say, I'm going to get some of this. I'm going to take some home to dry for tea later on in the year when it sort of all dies back. And I'll have some fresh. I'll probably do that outdoors as I normally do. There's a nice crop of it along this lane here, along this hedge. Obviously the council's been along and flailed a bit of it, but it doesn't bother it at all. See that one there is starting to recover. And the whole plant's edible, roots as well, but the bulk of the plant of course is here. So I'm going to be cropping some of this in a minute. I'll take a goodly bit of it home with me. I'll just tie up the bunches with string and let them dry somewhere near the stove, so there's always continuous heat from there one way or another. That'll accelerate matters. And I've got an air fryer as well. You can dehydrate stuff in that. As I say, I'll collect some of this now, and more than none. Right, boys and girls, I was out earlier gathering this stuff. Now this is, as I mentioned before, is a very, very primitive looking plant. Horsetail. No proper leaves, these are like fronds. Very prehistoric plant. Been on the planet about 200 million years, this. And in its heyday, this is what's left of the modern form. In its heyday, there were forests of this stuff, 50, 60 feet high, that sort of thing, in a world where there weren't many land animals. There's a bit of wildlife in there, I think, is it? Yep. Well, I'm just going to dispose of that. Yeah. It's now in a bag of waste food, so it'll be released tomorrow. Right, all horsetails, in Britain anyway, they all grow in wet places bar one species which prefers dry, and the dry one can become a bit of a pest in gardens and things. As I say, these fronds edible, the stalks are edible. We can see that the stalks are actually hollow, and so there's no reason why I don't think anyone can't even grow this in the gardens, because I already happen to know that if you section these, leave a bit of that joint there, drop them in water, they root very, very quickly, roots start growing, and when you've got a good root ball, you can put them in wet mud, wet soil, and they'll take off. There's two very tall ones, a giant one, and goes to about 1.5 meters in Britain, and there's one a bit smaller, goes a couple of feet shorter, and they're quite architectural plants as well. So if you're that way inclined, you can actually grow these in just ordinary garden soil in a big pot. As long as the bottom few inches of the soil is permanently wet, it'll find itself and it'll grow up. And of course they do spread, so if they're in a pot they're not going to cause an issue. And you can just keep them for plants if they're that way inclined, or you can just snip off these fronds. Now if you were making a tea out of these, an infusion, you can use the stalk as well. Crush that, chop the fronds up, green and fresh. You'd probably want about a tablespoonful, 2 or 3 teaspoonsful equivalent, and let them infuse in boiling water. Boil the water, take it off the boil, drop them in, and let them infuse. The smaller you cut these bits, the more flavour you get in the tea, of course, like every leaf. And leave them to steep for 5 to 10 minutes, and drink it that way. Now, this plant's got a reputation for having sorts of all weird and wonderful healing properties. It's particularly good in having silica in its structure. Silica, of course, is the most common compound on earth. It's the base of glass, and these have been used in the past as abrasives. So it was just something the like medieval type people got to know about, discovered that property and used it for polishing and rubbing things down and stuff like that. But it's full of all sorts of weird and wonderful essential elements, and these will leach out into your infusion as you make it, and it steeps. If you don't like lukewarm water, you can always reheat it after it's steeped. People say that if you boil stuff, it destroys some of the compounds, as I mentioned before in other vids. That's probably true. How much is lost, I don't really know. So if you're that way inclined, you want a nice hot brew, just reheat it after it's steeped for 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm going to crack on with these now. I'm going to cut all these fronds off, and I'm going to keep them, and tomorrow, weather permitting, I think it's going to be really heavy rain tomorrow, I'm going to go out in the field and have a brew up like I tend to do on a stove or an open fire, depends on circumstances. The rest I'm going to break up like in a bunch like that, and I'm going to tie a little piece of string around these, shove them in a bag, all ready to start to shed, just after a few hours out of the soil. And I'm going to let these dry, dehydrate, and then I'm going to break them all down small, cut them up very as fine as I can with scissors, break it all down, reduce it, and when it's nice and dry I'm going to keep that then for the teas over the winter. Again, with a dry leaf matter, you'd use like a good tablespoonful, 2 or 3 teaspoonfuls perhaps, for your brew, and I'm going to do exactly that with the fresher leaf. So we'll carry on there. And so I'm just basically going to cut off these fronds, I'll drop them in there like that. Quite interesting actually. I'm cutting this stalk up into smaller bits, and you can see that, I'm just doing that there. As I cut that, you can hear that, hopefully you'll hear it on the camera. it's the integrity of the stalk. It's almost like you can feel the fact. It's almost like cutting through something that's gritty, and I think that's a bit of a testimony to this idea that people centuries ago realised this could be used as an abrasive. They wouldn't have known why, of course, but modern science, of course, has demonstrated that the plant is made up of a lot of silica, as I mentioned. I've got here more than enough for my needs when I go out. This will partly dehydrate anyway before I get the chance to go out. There's a few stalks in there, and they're mostly this leaf. I've cut it down to most of it's about a centimetre long, but I might cut it a bit more yet. But I say a good tablespoonful like that is more than enough for a big mug of tea. And I don't do cups, I do mugs. Yeah, it's got to be at least half a pint, otherwise it's not worth having. That goes for any tea, and I dare say some coffee drinkers think the same way. So yeah, I'll leave that to one side now. I'll put it in the fridge actually, keep it a bit cooler, and hopefully we'll get out tomorrow and have a brew up. Right, not exactly how things panned out as I had planned. As you might be able to detect from my voice, I've got a bit of a cold at the moment. Light sunshine there. Yeah, a few days ago I collected some horsetails, and as is usually the case with myself, I like to take some of these plants out and brew them up outdoors, either on an open fire or a little camping stove. And as I say, I've picked up this cold now, and the weather turned a bit crap as well. So one thing and another, it's several days later now, and I feel a bit rough. So apologies for that. And the sun's out. It's going to rain again tomorrow, so I thought I'd better take advantage of the situation. I'm only about a mile from where I live. I'm at the side of the river here. Just above me is a road up there. There's a bit of traffic on that. There's another road over there. It sort of constricts as it comes towards the town. So they've got another half a mile further down, and they've been a lot further away from the road, but that's isn't really on my agenda at the moment. I've come to this little quiet spot, other than the traffic noise in the background, and I'm going to do a little brew up on the stove of this horsetail. And ironically, it's supposed to have loads of huge health benefits, so maybe it'll help my cold. But nonetheless, we're going to have a little infusion, so I'll just set things up and we'll take it from there. Now I could just light that with a cigarette lighter, but I like to light some flammable substance and then use that, transfer it over for no other reason really than it just gives you that little bit of extra practice. That's exactly what I mean. Just let it burn away now. Now, obviously I'm going to transfer some of this. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut up this leaf a bit small. I shouldn't call them leaves really, fronds. Maybe. What I want for a mugful is about two tablespoonful for a bit of extra flavour. I always like my stuff strong. Teas, just normal proper tea, I like that to be on the strong side. Builder's tea, as we like to call it sometimes. Just have to change the gas bottle there. The gas canister rather. Gas bottle. Yeah. It was getting a bit low. Not much power coming out of it. A nice roll and boil there. But I'll just leave that to steep now. It's had about 7 or 8 minutes stooping there, so I'll draw some of the water off. See what's left there. You can just do that. You'll see the colour of that, like slightly dark water. That's got a bit of coincidence there. A bit of a phlegm in my throat, and I swallowed that. It seemed to have almost instantaneously loosened it up. It could have been a coincidence. Obviously, if you're watching this, I can only tell you about the taste, and it's quite nice actually. Very, very sweet. It comes across to me anyway as very sweet. I'm trying to think what I could compare it with. I know I can think of something, but I can't quite think of something. Yeah, it reminds me of something, but I can't pull it up at the moment. It's yeah, it tastes quite sweet actually. I don't know what's causing that sweetness, if it is sweetness. It could be just my weird taste, sense of taste. It's I don't think there's that much natural sugar in it. So it's quite nice actually. And aftertaste, it seems like leave a bit of a coating on your mouth as well. It's yeah. Right, I shall wrap this up here, ladies and gents. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of the day while it's sunny. The forecast tomorrow is not good at all, and for the next 5 or 6 days apparently. So, cheers.